3 offices here. One's in Panama City. I am at the Panama City Beach location, and we do have one in Inlet Beach, and then there's also one in Destin and Fort Walton Beach. What is title insurance? So each real property transaction has a title policy that's attached to the purchase, and there is what the policy does. There's an owner's policy, and if there's a loan involved, there's a lender's policy that protects your mortgage, and what it does is just protects any prior defects and future risk that comes with that property. So that's what we do, and we take care of all the transaction paperwork, anything that comes with that purchase.
And I know y'all do an awesome job at South Oak, not only just because I know from Beth and her company and all the closings that you guys do together, but just you hear all the fees are virtually the same to a certain degree, but so obviously having people that are responsive, friendly, excited to get your deals done. You guys have beautiful offices. I've been in the one in Panama City Beach many times.
Exceptional customer service, no matter what office you're going to be at.
And that's what it's all about. That's really what separates y'all from many of the other title companies here in Panama City Beach, 30A, Destin, wherever it may be. That customer service, people want responsiveness. And, that's one thing at Bay Point. We just try to make sure everybody's having a good time and having fun and just being nice to people, and I know y'all do a wonderful job at that.
Thank you so much.
That's for sure. So excited to have y'all as a sponsor of the show here. Jordan, awesome to have you on the show. Anxious to talk to you and get some of your answers about football and growing up in this area and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'll put you on the spot first. Any thoughts on the PGA Tour Live Golf merger? I'm gonna talk a lot more about that later on today. But I'm just putting you on the spot. So I'm gonna ask Smitty about it later on today. See what his thoughts on it. A lot of people that may not even be paying it. What's that?
I'd say good luck with that.
Yeah, you could make up something on the fly. We're good at that around here, that's for sure. Hopefully, maybe Jay will call in later on today. I know he's driving back from the Atlanta area. We've been missing him all week, but we've had a lot of fun without him as well. We got a little break in about 10 minutes, but let's jump into it a little bit here, Jordan. Obviously, you grew up here in Panama City Beach, and tell us a little bit about your journey on how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so my journey started just pretty much like any other kid around here, just dreams, aspirations, goals. And I'd say my parents were definitely a huge influence on my athletic career, just being able to provide me with all the resources and everything that I need growing up, whether it's training, gym memberships, anything like that. But I would say it really just started with a dream, and just growing up, I've always felt like I've been driven, just God-driven, I like to say. But I started at the beach. I was lucky to have beach as far as like training and everything goes. I love training at the beach. That's one thing that I got to college, and everyone, we hit the sand pit, and it's like everyone's struggling and dying and everything, and I'm out there like,
this is my bread and butter. Yeah,
I love awesome. It. So yeah, it's fun. But beach, backyard. Love Panama City, love the people, and I'm glad to be able to come back and give back to the community and everything. So yeah, really just dreams, aspirations, goals.
Well, and I heard you say something in there too, and since your mom is sitting in here, but it takes dedication. It takes dedication from the whole family, and sacrifices by the parents to get you everywhere you need to go. And I can kind of touch on that a little bit just because of how much we're running around with our little rugrats that have dreams and aspirations as well. But yeah, you need that support. But you also said something. You said driven. Yeah. You had that in you, and that's what it takes, because talent alone isn't going to take you to that next level. It takes a lot more than that. And you touch on you probably, as you were coming up through the ranks, playing, when did you start playing tackle football?
I started at 5 years old out at the Panama City Beach Barracudas.
There you go. Yep. Which are now the PCB the Marlins. Mm-hmm. Which we know a lot of people that are in that particular organization. They do a wonderful job. But yeah, started young, and you probably started, when did you kind of see the separation where you might have saw yourself, maybe working a little harder or whatever it may be? Did you kind of see that as you were coming up?
Yeah, I'd say in between, I would say my ages 5 to 7 were more of going out there with my friends, hanging out, hanging out. And then I would say about 9 to 10, as you really start to get into it, like, okay, I've got a few years underneath my belt. Like, what can I do with this? So I would say around 9 to 10 years old, I really just wanted to be, okay, what can I do I noticed I was doing good and I had the ability and everything, but it's like, what can I do to separate myself from everybody else? Because obviously I wanted to pursue football as a career and stuff. And I just knew, I would say really from then, that I love the sport. I love sports in general. And I would say around there, just kind of trying to do stuff outside of practice and having fun and talking at practice and stuff. It was more of I was there to get better now.
Yeah.
At that point.
I thought that's such a great point, too, when you've got groups of kids, and we went to a camp a couple weeks ago, and that was the focus. You are here to get better. You're here to learn. Of course, if you love sports, you can have fun while doing that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're serious about sports, and that just listening to you say that it's so important. You've got to put that extra time, the extra effort, whatever it may be. And so take me to the next step after that, those 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old years. What followed after that?
Yeah, so I grew up with a great group. So it was always me and a group of about 5 kids. We stuck together all the way to, whether it was Barracudas to middle school, and we had a great coach. His name was Coach Steve. And I'll never forget, we always wanted to stay together no matter when we were practicing, whether that was off season, during season. We always wanted to be doing something together, whether it was another sport even. But I'd say once we got that core group and everyone had the same goals, same mentality, and was willing to work outside of just football practice or just during the season, started taking it more serious in the off season to just better prepare ourselves for the upcoming year. But I'd say about 9 to 10. And then from there forth, I actually didn't play middle school until my 8th grade year. I stuck in the league we all stuck in the league. None of us went to the actual school football league, but we stuck with that. And then 8th grade year, we were actually at Surfside, the same group, 6th and 7th grade. And then Coach Steve was like, you know what, let's just go have some fun in the middle school league. So our whole group transferred over to Breakfast Point Academy, and we played our 8th grade year. And I'm pretty sure before our 8th grade year, Breakfast Point had won maybe 1 or 2 games. And then we just went and dominated that year. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. So you had this core group of kids that you kind of grew up with, playing with. And that's, from a team sport standpoint, you're seeing that a little bit around here. I've got I'm going to reference my flag football team probably 1,000 times just because I've got some kids that play, on the Lynn Haven, she's on the Glenwood Rattlers now, but they have these core groups of kids that kind of move around together, and it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of keeps going as Liam hasn't jumped into tackle yet. I was going to ask you a question on that. Like, when do you think, I've talked to a lot of coaches, but when do you think putting on the pads is the appropriate time?
Honestly, I would say it all really just depends on the kid, whether that's physically built or really whenever you think he's physically ready. I would say, how old is he?
8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so, he's definitely getting there. I would say if he can just get the right mentality and understand that it's going to be another step forward and he just has to keep moving forward and everything, I would say he's good. Just keep him physically ready and everything, and make sure his mentality's there for sure.
His mentality is definitely there because he's asking me every other day. He's like, when can I put on? He just loves sports, loves to compete, hates losing, just loves being out there.
Yeah, but when does mom want him to put the pads on?
Well, it's actually more me, I wasn't able to play football, but as I mentioned yesterday on the show, I played ice hockey in lieu of football and got 3 concussions and tore up my knee. So it's any sport, no matter what you play.
Kind of same difference there.
Yeah, same difference, no doubt. And, that's why I play adult flag football now, because I'm still bitter. Hopefully she's not listening. But, awesome to kind of hear that. Obviously got a lot more questions, especially 2021 was your last year at Mosley?
22.
22 was your last year at Mosley.
22.
Okay, awesome. So, you were part of that, that state championship run team. But obviously a lot of questions for you. This stuff really, really interests me, and because I want to learn as much as I possibly can. To get ready for this kind of stuff. But we got a break coming up here in just a little bit, but you are listening to the Inside Drive live here inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. Before we hit that break, I want to mention it again. Next Thursday, we're excited. We've partnered with Course Scout, which is a new company that does some really cool stuff with your golf scorecard. I know that sounds really lame because we're talking about a scorecard, but what's going to be cool when we're having a new scorecard release party, and it's going to be next Thursday, June 15th, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. inside the clubhouse. There's going to be some complimentary appetizers, some drinks. We'll have some happy hour prices as well. But this is for private businesses that want to get involved. Our new scorecard is going to have 2 QR codes on it, or it's going to have, 1 QR code on it. You scan that QR code and it takes you to drone flyovers that this company did, as well as a lot of other cool stuff about the golf course. But local businesses will also have an opportunity to advertise on those drone flyovers. So check out our Facebook page. Again, that's Bay Point Golf Club. If you want to find out some more information about that, you can register right there for the event. And hopefully we get a few people coming out, because I think it's going to be a good opportunity we have a yardage card that we use. It's a free handout for all of our golfers that come out. We got a lot of businesses that have advertised on that as well. So we're just sitting there getting ready for that, for the big wedding coming up here soon. Smitty, we may have a little bit longer than that. Are you on the 15 still, like the Coach James Hale show? Okay, because we hit the 20s. Yeah, so I was like, there's only 2 minutes. I was like, shoot, I got 5 more minutes to talk here. But we'll get back into Jordan here in just a moment. I did want to touch on the College World Series National Championship came to a close yesterday. Oklahoma just has proven to be a dynasty. I know a lot of people locally here in the area were definitely pulling for Florida State, who's been the one that's kind of, they knocked Oklahoma out of their last time to three-peat, but they three-peat last night and they look strong. Florida State actually got out to a 1-0 lead off a solo home run, I want to say in the probably is the bottom of the fourth, because they were the home team last night. But then Oklahoma came back and hit 2 home runs back-to-back to take a 2-1 lead, and they never looked back. Florida State only scored 1 run in the College World Series final series. Oklahoma back-to-back national champions. It was the 7th national championship for Patty. I forget her last name. I don't have it up here in front of me, but one shy of the all-time record winning national championships. And UCLA was the only other team to win back-to-back national championships in softball history. They did in 88, 89, and 90. So we were definitely pulling for those Florida State Seminoles, as we've got a lot of friends over there, Florida State, especially on the golf side. But tough task going up against that juggernaut Oklahoma. They finished the season, I want to say, again, this is off the top of my head, 61-1 or 62-1, with their only loss coming way earlier in the season against Baylor, and then they ripped off 53 or 54 straight wins in the College World Series, culminating there with another national championship. So kudos to Oklahoma. The Oklahoma's not a football school anymore. They're certainly a softball school. There's no doubt. Now they'll be moving into the SEC here next year, so just even more powerhouse coming into the SEC in regards to football, baseball, softball, and all the other big time sports. So again, congratulations to the Oklahoma Lady Sooners on winning that one. Set all sorts of records this season, and just watching them play is. I don't know, have you ever watch college softball at all?
Yeah, I mean, really, I started going to the games over at South just because they love to have us out there, the football team, when we get together and just support the other teams and everything. So I've definitely started to get more into it just from being over there. What's
awesome is it's so fast-paced.
Yes,
it's just they're so quick, a lot of hitting, a lot of action going on, and certainly fun to watch, that's for sure. So we'll talk a little bit more about the baseball super regionals that get underway today, in addition to all sorts of other fun stuff. But when we get back from our break, want to continue picking Jordan's brain here and learning about how the journey went into high school, and really cool to hear you say you had that core group of kids that kind of continued to move on and through everything. But as you all know, you are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got 3 great local shows. Don't forget the Coach James Hale show every morning from 7 to 9 a.m. Used to be a guest on that show, Smitty, and we used to hang out on Friday mornings. So it's nice to see you back. Hadn't seen you in a while.
I kind of missed you. Definitely missed you on the show. If anybody's listening and they've listened to the Coach Hale show, they've heard us talk about missing you, and plus they probably don't listen to our show no more because you got your own.
Yeah, that's true.
But you're a big shot now.
No, nothing like that. Just having some fun.
See how you are?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I need to eventually. I'm going to invite Coach on the show one time, I think, and we won't talk anything about Alabama football.
Don't do that to yourself, and you know better than
I know
that he's not going to talk Alabama.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I've never been on with him when he's not running the ship.
So you can tell him to shut up,
or I can ask him questions that he clearly won't know the answers to, and and we'll have a lot of fun with that. That would be a good one.
I want to be there for that.
Yes. Well, you'll have to come in studio as well. And then don't forget, we're every Monday, Friday, the Inside Drive. We transition from the morning to the afternoon, and our intro coming in the afternoon, I say it all the time, we're probably the only sports talk radio show in the country that has afternoon delight bringing us into that second hour, because we do switch from the morning to the afternoon here in the Florida Panhandle. But we are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You're listening to the Inside Drive. We will be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Good morning, Coach. I hate to interrupt y'all's family reunion about Alabama. But, y'all probably got biscuits and gravy with your sister this morning, don't you? Oh, no, that's your wife.
Oh, my goodness.
Come join us.
If you bring us something, you can sure sit in here and talk to us.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Friday. For this afternoon and evening, a chance of thunderstorms and some sun and a high of 84 with a gentle breeze around 10 miles per hour coming out of the west. Tonight, mostly clear skies with lows around 74. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a possibility of thunderstorms and a temperature near 84. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumberyard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Living on the Gulf Coast, we have beautiful beaches, clear water, and amazing marine life. Want to bring a piece of the ocean into your home or office with an amazing aquarium? Gulf Coast Aquarium, the area's only certified platinum CCHEM dealer. Their staff are all certified CCHEM specialists. Gulf Coast Aquarium can install, design, maintain, and finance your own piece of the Gulf. Gulf Coast Aquarium, powered by CCHEM, with over 40 years as a U.S.-based manufacturer of quality aquarium products. Online at GulfCoastAquarium.com. Gulf Coast Aquarium, where it's more than just a tank.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Now the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
We're going to have a talk. Tell me what you know.
Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's a frantic noise.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We are back up. I know we got the streaming of the Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch back up and running, but if you want to follow that, you can watch it after the fact as well. It's, it lives kind of in infamy, I guess you could say. You just need to search ESPN Northwest Florida on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Give us a like and a follow. Give us a subscription there on YouTube, and you can watch all of our live shows, and you can go back and watch all of our live shows as well. We are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios, listening live and local on 104.3 in Panama City and 101.9 along the Forgotten Coast. I am joined by Crystal Whiteley and her son Jordan. Crystal Whiteley is a title agent here with South Oak Title and Closing, an awesome sponsor here of not only the Coach James Hale Show, but also the Inside Drive as well. So we appreciate you, Chuck, and the whole crew, for supporting our local shows. Because one of the big things Randy and this station really tries to do is have local programming. We're one of the few radio stations in the area that even has local shows, but actually has 3 local shows that are live. Nothing's recorded here. That's why we have a lot of fun and talk about a lot of cool different stuff. But ESPN Northwest Florida family of shows. You got the Coach James Hale Show, the Inside Drive, as well as the Afternoon Underdogs every afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. And this afternoon, it is Friday, Schmitty, so that means it is the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report. 4:20 every Friday. You've got Tim Braddock will be live talking about everything everything going on out there in the water, giving you that detailed fishing report, because it's that time of year. People are, it's snapper season start yet? I feel like it started already. I know they extended it. It's like 75 total days this year. So a lot of good stuff going on. I know one of my good friends, Joey Capo. You may know Joey from Southern Elite Sports. That was completely random, but he was out there yesterday when we were practicing, and he just came out from fishing, and he caught a strawberry grouper, which I'd never heard of. Yeah, they're not very big, but really kind of cool. They got little red spots all over them. He said when that strawberry grouper hit, he thought it was something huge. So you do a lot of fishing, Jordan?
Yeah, I love fishing. Actually, it's funny you brought that up, because I went on a charter fishing tour in the Keys, and it was a kind of a rough day and everything, and nobody was really catching anything. And then here I go, first one hooking up. I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone's freaking out. I got a nice one, and then a little strawberry grouper comes up, and I was like, oh my god. And
I haven't done a ton of fishing, but strawberry grouper I never even heard of, and then for you to actually have caught one and know, but they hit hard.
Yes, they do.
I'll have to get a picture. I mean, it wasn't very big, but it was cool. It was cool. So yeah, fishing obviously is a huge part of our economy and ecosystem and all that good stuff here. So don't forget to check out the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report this afternoon on the Afternoon on Dogs, as it is every afternoon on Fridays at 4:20 p.m. But Jordan, let's jump back into it. You were kind of, we're kind of going through this timeline of how you've got to where you are now at South Alabama, and it's 8th grade. You guys decided to come in and play 8th grade football, and you had this core group of kids. You've got Breakfast Point. You guys go in and you start winning some football games.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun being able to stick with my group, and no one going into the league. Nobody really knows of us, knows of our coach, and kind of the dynasty, I'd say, that we've had growing up. But it was fun. Yeah, we came into our 8th grade year, and unfortunately some of us had to go different routes high school just because of living and family situations and work and everything. So I took my talents to Mosley, and as most of the other kids had to go to Arnold, so it kind of split us up and everything. So it was and it was funny too, because freshman year I played my first 3 games on JV, and then they moved me up, and it was the same game that my core group, I guess, could say we all actually moved up to play each other, and I had to go and tackle my best friend at quarterback, so it was pretty rough, but it was fun.
But I mean, it's kind of part of it too when you're coming up through the small town. We talk a lot of golf on this particular show, and we had the pleasure of having Fred Biondi's coach, who's actually Chris Kramer's brother-in-law, and was talking about how he came up on the golf side of things and left Brazil and did education, everything, dedicated it to golf, but kind of the same thing. All the guys they're competing with on the junior golf scale at a very, very high level, they were still competing against each other in the national championship. So that made me think a little bit about that. So you guys are now in high school. You're at Mosley. All your other core people are kind of sprinkled about. But how was it transitioning into high school? Obviously, Mosley, a powerhouse program in football. The last 10, 12 years.
Yeah, so I would say for a lot of people, just from what I know, the transition is pretty big, but I'd say if you can just maintain your conditioning, your physical aspects of it, and just do, like I said earlier, do stuff outside of just football in order to make yourself and separate yourself. I felt like for me personally, because I was doing that at such a young age, my transition was actually a lot easier than other kids, just because I knew what it takes, and I've kind of grown up, and I even started to train with some of the more elite and leaders on the Mosley team in middle school, just to get ready, build relationships, stuff like that. Started just doing my own drills and everything with them. So I felt like it made my transition a lot easier than most, but
yeah. I mean, everything you're saying, I'm just listening to, and the extra, the outside of practice, the extra, always training, always working out, always trying to get better, and that's why you're playing college football. So, I want to paint that picture. The Friday night lights, your first varsity game coming out on the field. Mosley's always got big crowds, great program over there. I know Donnie Coker real well, and I know how involved he is. He had his son Trey, and obviously I'm drawing a huge blank. Randy Pittman. Made his UCF journey over there, so always talking to Donnie about that. But talk about the first time you came out of the tunnel out there and playing varsity Friday Night Lights, jacked up, ready to go. Just kind of walk everybody through that a little bit.
Oh yeah, honestly I felt that starting the Monday leading up to the game. It was that definitely was the transition. As so much wasn't as big, but the stadium and the lights definitely were. So coming out and just, oh man, running out because they have the big helmet with the smoke and everything. I remember kind of standing in the back as a freshman, like I knew I was going to play, but am I ready? Like, have I done what it takes? All that good stuff. So yeah, it was definitely overwhelming. And then being able to run out and just kind of see the whole community behind your back and everything. And I'm pretty sure my very first one was against Lincoln. So yeah, they were a big school out of Tallahassee. So I was like, oh man, I remember just watching film and everything, being like, am I ready? You know, all that questioning and stuff comes back to you. But after the first series, I mean, the calls coming in and stuff, you
kind of switch off to that. Now you're playing football, not thinking about the moment as much, and letting all your training and your film study and your working out, just all that instincts and kind of, I say it like golf. If you learn how to play golf from the subconscious, that's where you can be really, because you're just reacting and you're letting the game come to you. And I'm sure that had to be an awesome experience. I'm sure it had to be an awesome experience for you as well. You know, tell us a little bit about how exciting it was to see your son come out of the big helmet and out there on the field. Probably nerve wracking, I would imagine, at the same time.
I mean, definitely. Probably your senior year when they all form back together, the core group comes back together, and then they're all doing it together, and then they win like you said, the state championship. And what? Why are you looking at me like that? So yes, I mean, they got to experience it together and finish off their high school moments. Yeah. That to me was important because I remember seeing them start, Tiny Mite football together, and then they built something big, and then that was like their moment. You know, so
I feel like there's a little bit about that going on or now a little bit with some of these programs, and you're seeing a lot of growth on the youth football side for sure. I mean, obviously youth baseball is massive around here as well, but getting involved a little bit more in football, you're starting to see a lot of these programs making some stuff happen. You're starting to have some of these youth teams play in these state tournaments and stuff like that, and getting outside of our area, and that's only going to benefit us for the future. So is there a particular game that freshman year out there that you kind of remember, or a play or anything like that sticks out for that first year out there on the football field for Mosley? Yeah, for sure. So I mean, growing up, you don't have so much as far as rivalries or anything like that. So Arnold and Mosley was always the talk trash and everything like that. So all my buddies are hyping it up before the game. Like, come on, man, this is the game. We got to do good. Like, all of our friends are going to be here. It's the rival game. You got the pep clubs that they're known for over at Arnold and everything. So it's just, and then I remember going in, like you said, the nerves. But once I dived into the actual game, my buddy that I grew up with was at quarterback, and I was at linebacker. So Love it. It's probably the second, third series. I made a sack, and he was close to the end zone, and it was like 3 yards. I thought I was going to get him for safety, and I just swept his legs and got out on the one, and we both just started laughing at each other. It was funny. Love it. That's awesome. I mean, and that moment right there, you will never forget that moment. That's for sure. So as you were progressing through your years at Mosley High School, when did it start becoming serious that, look, I'm looking at going to the next level with the recruiting and all that stuff? When did you start to realize, okay, I've got an opportunity here in front of me to take that next step? Yeah, so I'd say really freshman summer, I knew going in that this is where I wanted to go, and I knew Mosley around here was obviously more the dynamic and everything, so I wanted to take my talents there. But I would say going into high school, I knew, but as far as camps and really getting my name out there as far as just outside of Panama City, Bay County area, was freshman summer. I started going to more of the college camps, showcases, everything like that. Spending my whole summers pretty much on the road, getting recruiting and everything. And it's funny because my very first letter ever I got in the mail was from Coastal Carolina. So there you go. You could have been a Chanticleer. Yep. I won't hold it against you. South Alabama, that's awesome. Anytime you can move up to the Division I level in any sport is absolutely fantastic. But you mentioned something there, and we've talked. I'm hoping to have Max Straber from QB Vision on at some point. But when we went to that camp over in Santa Rosa a couple weekends ago, that's what he really stressed. He's like, go to college camps, because there was a lot of older kids and a lot of kids that already had offers and quarterbacks and wide receivers. And they were kind of talking about the recruiting process. But yeah, going to college camps is really what makes the difference. And there's lots of stuff where you go to this camp, they clock your 40 or whatever, and you pay $75. But it's the college camps that you really need to go to get yourself out there for that next level.
Yeah, for sure. I would say, I mean, really, that was my main focus. You always obviously have the Under Armour All-American camps where it's just going to be more of your combine type stuff that you want to go to if, say, you do have a ridiculous 40 or something vertical, something to really set you apart as far as just combine stuff. But if you want to showcase your ability and how you can move in your position, college camps all day.
Yeah, and it's it's not just your physical ability; it's your IQ, how fast you can process things and all that stuff. So really cool. Who I have to ask because I'm an alum. Who was it? Chadwell that was there when you got the offer?
Yes, I think so.
And now he's a trader and he went to Liberty.
Yeah.
So we got our new coach. I don't even know the name of the new coach. But hopefully maybe we'll Coastal will play South Alabama at home and we can make that quick trip over there. Not very far, 2.5 hours away. About right?
Yep.
About right. So college recruiting process, when the letters started coming in, y'all had to kind of be getting really, really excited and knowing that, this is a serious thing. And then, what you were mentioning, was it the 2022 year? No, 2021, y'all went, talk about the playoffs in 2022 and 2021 and that experience and doing all that stuff and having this community of Bay County really behind y'all.
Yeah, so like my mom said, the core group pretty much got back together our senior year, and that's really when Mosley was able to make the run, just because the chemistry and everything that you have is so important in football, and just being able to be back with all of our quote-unquote brothers and everything was very important. So we knew that it was all of our senior years, like we wanted to go out with a bang. We had the new coach, Coach Whitting, come in. He does a phenomenal job over at Mosley, and just the staff that he brought in was able to really transform us over that summer, get us physically prepared, everything like that. So going into the season, we had nothing to lose. I mean, it's our senior year. We were all back together. We knew and they came back for football. It wasn't like just school. It's like we wanted to finish this thing together and see how as far as we can go with it. So it was really fun. And the community played a huge part in it as well, because I would say without the fans and everything on those Friday night home games, I mean, as a football player, when you're on the field and you hear, thousands of people behind your back, it's a lot easier to, when you're winded and tired, to give that extra
heck
burst.
Yeah, that adrenaline pop. Yeah, it's kind of what you live for. It's why you played a game. But
yeah, it's definitely very important.
Yeah. So finished that season, you guys go on a run, and how did it kind of end?
Oh man, so we were able to do really well. Just the first, I think we made it to the Final Four, Elite Eight, one of those right there, but. It went super smooth the whole way, and then we went and we met the powerhouse Pine Forest over in Pensacola area, and it did not go very smooth. But
yeah, it's when you get to that, especially Mosley, 5A?
Yeah, 5A. 5, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So when we're playing in that size, and when you get to that level, that's totally a different ball game for sure. But and talk about I want to talk. Well, man, we got a break in about 3 minutes. We may carry over a little bit of the conversation, but talk about some of the differences. You head in. You're going to South Alabama. You obviously got your offer. You take your commitment. You say you're going, and what was that like coming into the Division I college football program versus high school? What was the biggest difference right off the get-go? Obviously, besides everybody being really good.
Yeah, so honestly, I like to talk to just how the recruitment process went for me right
please,
there.
Please.
It was definitely a rocky ride. Like sophomore year, just letters and letters coming in, bigger schools. My first ever visit was actually Nebraska. And then COVID happened, and so it was just it was just all downhill from there. And I know really it affected the class above me as well the most, but we kind of got the leftovers from it, and then they give all their fifth years and extra.
Yeah, so
season.
Now you've got a lot less roster spots out there.
The recruitment process is kind of just, do I still have an offer here? The coaching changes, like everything.
And all the questions just had to been just shoot through your head.
So just to be able to sign that letter of intent somewhere and just know I can go to college and play at the next level was definitely super satisfying, and just knowing that I went through the process and it was all part of God's plan to be able to get there.
And your hard work and your dedication, and to see that all come to fruition is pretty awesome.
Yeah, but it was a rocky ride, but I'm glad to be where I'm at.
Yeah, you're a great spot there, not too far away. I know we do have a break coming up here in 2 minutes, a real 2 minutes this time, because we hit the 40s. And Smitty, I appreciate you filling in for David Hayes today, by the way. But when we get back, I want to talk more about the college football, the speed, how much more time you dedicate to football. Obviously, even at the high school level, it's a year-round constant thing that you're always doing. And, anytime you can move on to that next level is pretty special. And I don't have a chance to talk to football players very often. I talk to a lot of golfers and that kind of stuff. So excited to have you guys in the studio today. Hey, Crystal, real quick, I'm going to put you on the spot. Tell us one more time about South Oak Title and Closing, a sponsor here of the Inside Drive.
South Oak is such a great company. Like you said earlier, just with us being a sponsor here, that's one thing I love about the company is just we pour so much into local businesses. If you don't know about South Oak, we are title and escrow services. We have 3 different locations here, one in Panama City. I'm at the Panama City Beach location, and we have one in Inlet Beach. There's also one in Destin and in Fort Walton. But like I said, South Oak Title and Escrow Services.
Yeah, and I can speak from personal experience because we've closed several things there, but obviously Beth has closed a bunch. And if you're looking for a top-notch title and closing agent, you can't go wrong with Crystal. That's for sure. I know what you do to make stuff happen. So
thank you so much.
You got to have not only real estate agents that won't take no for an answer, but you got to also have those title agents that are willing to do whatever it takes to get that deal across the finish line. Because at the end of the day, that's you're working for your clients, and the end goal is to close on whatever particular property that is. So, but yeah, no, y'all do so much in the community, and I see you at all these events, donating, sponsoring. So kudos to Chuck and the whole crew that y'all have, just doing a wonderful job out there at South Oak, and I can speak to them personally because of Beach House Sales and Development. And
absolutely, we love Beth and all her crew over there too.
She's got a
Beach House is awesome.
Great group of ladies, that's for sure, and they work their butts off. There's no doubt, and that's what it takes. But people talk about the real estate market and the interest rates and all that stuff. There's still plenty of stuff happening out there. You've just got to have your pipeline. You got to be aggressive, and you got to get it done for people, because that's the best form of business is those referrals. Those people that refer to other people, or you keep coming back and all that good stuff. When we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about Jordan Whiteley, redshirt freshman over there at the University of South Alabama, linebacker position, which is pretty awesome. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida has the real local fishing report. Hi, this is Tim from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle. Join me every Friday at 4:20 during the afternoon Underdogs. It's accurate, detailed content from local anglers, plus fishing updates on Saturday and Sunday morning right when you hit the water. Advice and stories from local anglers. Tune into the Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle Fishing Report, exclusively on ESPN Northwest Florida.
The new Smokin' Triple Stack at Firehouse Subs is stacked high with honey ham, smoked jerky, and slow-smoked beef brisket. To top it off, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. The Smokin' Triple Stack Sub. Get it for a limited time, only at Firehouse Subs. Participating U.S. locations. Firehouse of America, LLC, and Firehouse Subs suppliers together will donate 0.09% of purchases in 2023 at Firehouse Subs locations to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the purchase of life-saving equipment with a minimum donation of $1 million.
Hey folks, Chris Kramer with Bill Kramer GM. And the best place to listen to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey is inside a brand new vehicle from Bill Kramer GM. And I want you to know we've got 10 times the amount of inventory on the ground as we did this time last year, and darn near all of them are discounted. So shop us online at BillKramerGM.com or visit the corner of Frankfurt and 23rd. We'll make it easy and take great care of you.
Everyone loves gold chains. I mean, who doesn't? Gold always works. Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves features the largest selection of 14-karat gold chains, bracelets, pendants, and earrings you'll find anywhere. In fact, more than all the other stores in Bay County combined. And they're all on sale today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry inside Coin and Bullion Reserves. You won't find a larger selection or lower prices anywhere. Gold always works, and you can take that to the bank.
Do you suffer from political talk radio fatigue? Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. That's probably the longest studio name in sports talk radio right now, but I'll read it every day because I'm very appreciative of Bill Kramer, or not Bill Kramer, but Chris Kramer, all the Kramer family for supporting the Inside Drive, and we have Chris in studio with us every Thursday just talking about all sorts of fun stuff. So it's been a blast so far here on the Inside Drive, joined by Jordan Whiteley, redshirt freshman at the University of South Alabama, and of course his mom, Crystal Whiteley, one of the best title agents here in our area, that is for sure. So I appreciate y'all coming in and hanging out with me today. As you can see, I've got all my other friends in studio with us. So we've been kind of talking about the journey of a Division I college athlete, and you talked about the Rocky. I didn't even really think about that until you said something. You were in the height of the COVID when recruiting got shut down. You couldn't visit coaches, no more camps going on, and then ended up signing that letter of intent at the University of South Alabama, and then you're on your way. You've been there for 1 year, so you've got your what are they? It's not your sophomore, it's your sophomore education year. But you'll be a redshirt sophomore this season, or is it considered a redshirt freshman?
It'll still be redshirt freshman.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you're at South Alabama. I'm sure you open with whatever it is, training camps, the spring workouts, whatever. So talk a little bit about that. Your arrival at South Alabama, eye-opening experience, or kind of what you expected?
Oh no, it was definitely eye-opening for sure. Just from the very get-go, having to go to my dorm and just knowing like I'm going to be stuck in this small area.
That's college in general, for sure.
For the whole rest of this little season or whatever for the year. But it was definitely eye-opening for sure. Just getting on campus, and you go from building yourself in high school to being the top dog on the fourth year to now you're back at the very bottom.
Yep.
And this time I was at the very bottom with 24 and 25-year-olds. So it was definitely a huge experience. And I opened up with summer camp, started off around July 1st or so, and we started training and weightlifting, and I was always the strongest and stuff in high school. And then you see some O-linemen, D-linemen that are benching 500 pounds and squatting 700, so it's just like, wow. And I was definitely saying the weight room was the biggest for me. Kind of just, I would sit back and watch a little bit, I'd say, and just see like, wow, I can't wait to where I'm in their seat and everything. So it's exciting, but definitely eye-opening.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome. So you're out there, and a lot more coaches, obviously, on a college football team, and other linebackers coming in at the same class as you are. So was there somebody that you kind of got together with, or was there a group of people? You talked about your core group going all the way up from playing tiny mite football, into high school. Then y'all came back together and had that awesome run at the state championship. Is there a group of people that you kind of get together with when you first come on campus that you guys are like, okay, we're going to stick together, and because it's kind of one of and it's a team, so you're used to being on a team, you're used to developing these relationships, but does that kind of happen when you get on campus and start your training?
Yeah, for sure. So whenever we started, obviously the linebackers, I'd say, brought me in as family. Not so much the whole entire, because you go from a team of maybe 40, 50 to a team of 100 and something. So I really didn't even know everyone's name until I'd say a month ago. So if that tells you how many people there are. But I came in, the linebackers brought me in. The coach did a phenomenal job too of just welcoming all the freshmen and everything. But I'd say 2 to 3 of the incoming freshmen, whether it was linebacker or one was a running back, we were all on the same floor in the dorm. So I was able to kind of bond with them. We kept each other accountable because the early 4:30 in the morning workouts come very quick. So just being able to knock on each other's door and have each other's back, make sure they're on time for workouts, so we're not having to run for each other and all that good stuff. But I'll definitely say just the incoming freshmen with me helped me a lot along the way, and still do.
So how much do you think, versus, this is a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, from all your development through high school, how quickly did you increase your strength and your ability at that first year at South Alabama?
Yeah, actually a lot faster than I thought. So the workout program, like you said, there's so many more coaches. So I have nutritional coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, everyone there to make me better and just to make the team better, obviously. So the nutritional aspect of it, we would come in, you get your daily vitamins and everything from the counter, and you're immediately after the workouts, I'm getting protein shakes, and because I came in a little bit lighter than they wanted me to be, so it's just eating and PB&Js. But the good thing about it was you have coaches there that are already have it made for you, so it's like if you just put yourself out there and do it, like you have people surrounding you that
it's there for you.
Yes.
You just got to go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that will also separate you in college too, because a lot of the people that don't get their weight up, and then if you can't meet that weight or the standard, that just goes to show you that you can't do what you're asked.
That's a discipline thing. Yeah, it shows you're not disciplined enough to make the effort to be where you need to be to help the football team.
Yep, so it definitely separates you just from the get-go. But yeah, the weight and everything, that kind of caught me off guard, just I felt like I was full 24/7, and then protein shakes, taking them home by the case and having to drink them before bed and all that stuff. But yeah,
it's people watch it on TV, and they don't think about all the behind the scenes stuff constantly going on, so that on that Saturday afternoon or evening when you're playing football, all that stuff you're doing comes out on the football field. So
sure.
I'm gonna ask you about linebackers in general. In the college level, what's your favorite thing about, or in high school too, what's your favorite thing about being a linebacker?
Well, for me, so obviously there's different linebackers. I'm the Mike, so I feel like being the Mike is you got to be able to lead, and everyone, I like to say, looks up to you if you're the Mike on defense, because you're getting the calls in, you're making sure everyone gets it, you're relaying it out to the team. You have to have pretty much an understanding of everyone else's position, because if anything happens, you got to know, you got to make the calls. You're the leader. So being the Mike has definitely helped me, whether that's in the classroom or anything, just being able to lead. And it's really, I love Mike. That's definitely my favorite position. And I even joke with all the other linebackers and stuff, because they always have to look to me for the calls. So it's fun to mess around with. But
that's awesome. That's awesome. So you touched on something that I've heard many a time, and I'm trying to preach that to my 8-year-old son. And my daughter has definitely got a little bit more of you mentioned the leadership, and these college camps and all that stuff you're going to. People are looking always for leaders, because leaders separate themselves. Leaders want to get stuff done, and leadership is so important, not only in work, life, and sports. When did it kind of, it was your core group of friends, well, you were always kind of the head dude, the leader with all that stuff going up, through, and then that was kind of an easy transition for you in college?
Yeah, and I would say too that the core group, our Coach Steve, definitely helped me with that, as far as me being the leader of just that group, and he kind of showed me the way to set the example, because I was the one making sure everyone was at practice on time, making sure that whenever we did outside training, I was running the drills. I was making sure everyone is where they were supposed to be. So it kind of helped the whole leader aspect of in college. It made the transition a lot easier for me.
Yeah, and everybody's work, business, sports, life, whatever it is. In the church, religion, it's leadership. Leadership is so important. And I try to Liam. I can keep talking about him because we're talking about football. He's a quarterback. He loves playing quarterback. He's a smart little booger. I make him think constantly, but I can't get him to hold other kids accountable yet. He's 8, but I'm working on that. So I'm just trying to, is there certain things, you can do to push the leader, or is it just something you have in you already that kind of comes out? What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, quarterback, that's the leader of the offense.
Yep.
So
you have to be a leader.
I would say there is stuff inside of you that naturally, I would say, because I know some guys, but you can still push it. I think just knowing that you want to be the leader and that you want to be a quarterback, and if you want to go to the next level, of course, leadership is important. So I would say just holding others accountable and making
That's
sure
the biggest thing in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that you're listening, make sure everyone's paying attention. And at his age, people are going to be at practice trying to goof around and everything. And if it's just like, hey, man, like let's lock in and focus in on what coach has to say, because we need to make sure we know what we're doing and everything on offense. And because, like you said, we're a team. So I would say just small things at that age that he can work on, whether it's making sure everyone's on task in the drill, or making sure that he has everyone's attention and is making sure everyone's listening to coach, and just taking all that in, and kind of just starting young definitely will help. And
I heard I mentioned that camp, heard a story from that camp when the quarterback Max was at a camp, and they had wide receivers running, and they were throwing routes, and he was throwing the ball. He threw one, the receiver ran the wrong route, and instead of complaining about the receiver running the wrong route, he went out and got into that receiver's face and basically said, look, we're both on this. We've got to make this happen. Yep. And that moment that he had is what separated him from everybody else, and ended up getting an offer to Florida at that point because of one little moment in time of showing leadership. I preach leadership to my staff and my kids and all that stuff because it's so important. And Beth, she's a leader. She's a great leader. She may not realize it as much as she probably does, but she does a great job with leading that team. And everything is in life and sports and work is team and all that stuff. Youth sports, you're kind of giving back a little bit right now. Talk a little bit about what you do, some of the things you offer, and if people want to get involved with you, you do some training and some different things with kids, right?
Yeah, so when I'm back for the summer, I've started this little thing. I started it last summer where I just come back and kind of get back to some of the youth around the local area. I've started doing, whether it's weight training, I have a few kids starting that right now, or speed and agility. I actually just got back from a beach session with one of the kids, and it was his first one. So
he's gonna be worn out.
Oh yeah, tomorrow he's gonna be so sore. But yeah, good. So I've started a little summer. I call it J Money Strength and Conditioning.
I like it.
For the summer. So
I like it.
I've got them on weights. I've got a nice plan for them. And I even try to help with their nutrition because it definitely is important. And I've learned a lot about it just growing up and how much it actually can change your body. And I would say it's 80% nutrition, 20% working out, because without the right nutrition, your working out does nothing. So I've started with them. And I'm even starting doing more on position specific stuff. So my brother wants to be a quarterback, so I've started working with him a little bit on quarterback drills.
Great football player as well. I've seen it firsthand. And I was there when he had his eye popped open last year in summer flag football, and boy, did he take it like a champ. That's for sure. Tough like his brother, I bet.
Yes. Totally different skill set positions though, defense and offense. Built totally different too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're seeing kind of the best of both worlds. So, but yeah, didn't mean to interrupt you. But know your little brother and how good of a little football player he is, that's for sure. But yeah, so J Money, how do they find you if they want to hook up with you? What's a good way for them to reach out?
Well, honestly, the first thing it started with was my mom's Facebook page. So
there you go.
I reached out to that, but now I've started. You can find me on Instagram at Jordan Whiteley 1. I've used just any social media platforms, but mostly Instagram, and just shoot me a DM. And I'm glad to reach back out to you with the schedule and everything. But yeah, it's definitely filling up quick. So
that's awesome. And one of the things too, like, all these kids you're working with, they're going to be huge fans of yours. You may or may not realize it, but as a college athlete or even as a high school athlete, little kids, when they see you and they work with you and they feel your enthusiasm, they're going to be your fan and they're always going to remember that moment. So kudos to what you're doing, giving back a little bit to the community and making sure that next generation of football is coming back up. That's for sure. I know we got a break coming up here in a couple minutes. If you guys want to hang out, we're going to pivot and talk just kind of all sorts of random sports, or if you got to go too, whatever works for y'all. But Crystal, real quick, one more time before we hit this top of the hour break, tell us about South Oak Title.
South Oak Title. So what we do is we provide title insurance. So whenever most people don't really know what title insurance is, when you purchase a real property transaction, there is a title insurance policy that comes along with that between both parties. So there's an owner's policy, and then if there's a loan involved, there's a lender policy that protects your mortgage. So that's what we do. We issue title insurance policies, and you can just come see us, come check us out. And if you need help with any of your title and escrow services, South Oak Title.
Yeah,
we're here for you.
How can they reach out to you?
Crystal Hale.Whiteley@SouthOakTitle.com. I'm at the Panama City Beach location.
A beautiful location. I've spent many a time
Great
in that
company.
particular office. Absolutely. Y'all do a wonderful job, and excited to have you as a sponsor here on the Inside Drive, as well as Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. We were talking a little bit about fishing earlier, but if you need to get back out on the water, and as Chris always says on the ad, if you're tired of waiting 2 weeks to get your boat fixed, come see Kramer Marine and Outdoor. They can get you back out on the water ASAP, especially if you got the Yamaha outboard on there, as they do have Yamaha Master Certified mechanics on staff. They've also got a great inventory of Seabourn, Spider, Sundance, which is all part of the CRI boat family. Soon to be Skeeter boats coming in as well. You can check them out at KramerMarineandOutdoor.com. When we get back, we'll be into the second hour. We're going to start talking a little bit about some college baseball, maybe some PGA Tour, Live Tour, and the NHL Stanley Cup Finals is now 2-1 Vegas to Florida. We'll be right back. You're listening to The Inside Drive.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
That ball's going to be out of here.
America's team plays here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Ronald Acuna just clobbered one to left.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Goldberg Kia, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, and Brock Pest Control.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, a possibility of thunderstorms and some sun, and a temperature of 84 with an 8 to 12 miles per hour wind out of the west. Partly cloudy skies tonight and warm near 74. Partly sunny throughout the day with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening, and 84 tomorrow. This is your Friday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
PCB Hobby, the beach's premier hobby store for sports cards, comics, coins, and trading card games. PCB Hobby carries the largest selection of boxes and packs from the latest releases of brands like Topps, Panini, Leaf, and more. Looking for a specific player or team? PCB Hobby has a wide assortment of raw and graded cards. They carry parallel rookie, game used, and autographed cards in both modern and vintage. Have a collection you want to sell? We buy, sell, and trade. PCB Hobby on Back Beach Road, just east of Florida Linen. Call 850-320-8388.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, WVLQ Port St. Joe.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Back to the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios.
It's alive! Look alive! We're alive!
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As I mentioned earlier in the show, probably the only sports talk radio station in the country that has Afternoon Delight, bringing us into the second hour, as we have now switched to the afternoon here on the Inside Drive. You're listening inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. You can listen to us on 104.3 in Panama City, 101.9 in Port St. Joe, as well as stream us live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. You can just check out ESPN Northwest Florida. I believe we do have a caller, one of our good friends of the show, Alan Sandage, our our East Coast gambling degenerate. He has some former aliases, but he's calling in as his real person today. Alan, how are you doing?
I am great, man. Do you guys have the celebration horns? Like, ba-ba-ba?
Yes.
Can you play that for the Braves, man? Because we smoked the Mets.
Smoked them, came back and beat them, that's for sure. But
did it twice. It was just the best thing ever.
I'm glad you called because I was going to talk about the Braves today, but I'm not as much of an expert as you are. But Alan, we've also got Jordan Whiteley in the studio with us, and he's hanging out here for the second hour. So if you got any questions for him as well, feel free. He's a redshirt freshman linebacker at the University of South Alabama, local here from Panama City. But yeah, talk about the Braves a little bit. And I don't know if you watched the broadcast last night. I didn't, but our good friend Doc A, NBA expert, he sent me a text earlier this morning. He said it was probably one of the best Braves broadcasts in the history of the Atlanta Braves.
So I didn't catch the broadcast because I was multitasking, but I was listening to it on the radio, and I'm pretty sure the TV broadcast is a little different from the radio. But, like, there's just something about, and I don't want to sound super old, but baseball is just a sport that you really get a lot out of a radio broadcast. Like, I've listened to football on the radio, and it just doesn't do it for me. But I can listen to a baseball game all day on the radio. It's just phenomenal.
I think it's because they kind of shoot the breeze a little bit during the whole broadcast, so there's a lot more candid, funny stuff, I think, that comes out, especially if your color guy is a nut.
Yeah, and they don't seem as biased, man. Radio broadcasts for football, especially NFL, it's like, man, you might as well just listen to me on a pro Niners podcast.
Yeah, I mean it's a home radio, that is for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about the Braves.
Yeah, Braves just doing the things that I said that they were doing. In the previous times I've called, we just keep getting big clutch bats from guys like Orlando Arcia, and Ozuna looks like he's in a Cardinals uniform again, which is crazy. We're not even talking about the fact that he hit a 410-foot single.
Yeah,
everybody forgave him because it's like, oh, he's back to hitting home runs again.
That's right.
And it's just great to see a team that literally just has no quit. I mean, we scored 6 runs in the last 3 innings, 6 runs to win that game, 19 hits, and again, backing up our pitchers who just have been going through it lately. It's great. We were down 6-2. In the first couple innings, and then that ballooned up to almost like 10-3, and we still fought back and won. This is the type of win that a team who thinks they should be at the top of the league and competing can look back on and say, we can do anything.
Well, and it's, if you're going to make a run at a championship, you're not going to obviously win every game or have a great game every game. But when you learn how to fight back and deal with, that difficulty of, especially last night, and to bring it to the bottom of the 10th and then the walk-off hit, that's how you have a team that's going to make a run at another, championship.
And here's the kicker, too. Because people don't think about this because baseball is such a long season, but you really got to win your division games now that there's open interleague play. Because back in the day, it used to be interleague was like one time during the year.
Yeah.
Now it's any time. So the Braves are 3.5 games up on the Marlins right now. They're 6-0 against the Marlins. So your second best team in your division, you have dominated so far. And even if we lose our next series against the Marlins, we definitely gave ourselves a cushion, because had we split with them, we'd be half a game ahead or maybe even tied for the division right now. There's still a cushion, and we're in June. So imagine what that looks like come August and September if we continue to win those division games. And obviously you're not going to sweep everybody, but if you continue to beat the people that are in your division, you're really setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the broadcast last night, as I was mentioning, they had Chipper Jones, Tom Glavine, John Smoltz, Jeff Francoeur in the booth, and then Greg Maddux actually called in. So talk about a group of people inside the booth yesterday. Everybody who's a Braves fan, especially older, our generation and beyond, knows how dominant this rotation was. And the reason why they were so dominant, we had I forget, drawn a huge blank on the pitching coach that we've had on the show before. He mentioned, what they did in their off time. They played golf. They had the free reign when they weren't in the rotation and they needed a break. They went out and played golf, and they played golf together, and they bet each other. And we talked about with Jordan earlier about team and that camaraderie and how important it is to success. And talk about a group of people that had some serious success, on the baseball field.
And that side competition stuff leads to on-field competition, which is healthy if you're looking at teams. I mean, the biggest part about camaraderie is that brotherhood that you build. That I know, like the young man you got sitting with you now and playing football, you can look at the guy next to you and know that guy's got your back because you guys have been through a lot, and the same amount of grief and effort he gives you in something as simple as tic-tac-toe is going to show up on the field. Like in college, we had 5 guys on my track team. That's what we won our conference championship with. And those same 5 guys were the same guys I played flag football with, the same guys I ate lunch with. We would play Connect 4 and bet on that and compete in that. So when it came down to the fact that we only had 5 members, we knew that all 5 of us were going to give the very best effort, and we did something at that time that was unprecedented in the Colonial Athletic Association. Like, we won with a relay team and a thrower. That's it.
Yeah.
We didn't have any distance people, and we made sure we placed top 3 in all of our events that we competed in, and that's how we ended up winning the whole thing. So it definitely helps, and I'm happy that they spoke on that, because the mental aspect of pitching definitely goes unnoticed by fans sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leo Mazzoni, I can't believe I drew a blank on that before we had him on the show when me and Jay filled in for Coach James Hale one time, and just listening to him talk about that time and then what it takes. And I love to ask people, as youth are coming up, what the success does and all that stuff. But yeah, so Braves, great little series there. Did the Reds play last night? I apologize.
The Reds? If they did, I didn't pay attention to it because I was so into the. Yeah, they did. They lost 6-0.
Gotcha. So I was wondering if is it Dela Cruz? Is that the right name?
Yeah, Deli Cruz. I just call him Deli Cruz.
Deli Cruz, yeah, New Jersey Deli Cruz. But yeah, I wonder how he did last night because we had talked about him a little bit. While we got
he had Kershaw on the mound. He went 1 for 4. With a single, so
gotcha.
I just happened to have the game up, so yeah, it's not bad.
No, not bad against Clayton, who pitched the scoreless 6 or 7 innings, I believe, with 9 strikeouts.
Yeah, he was classic Clayton last night.
Yeah, the Dodgers like, we're not losing this one now. We got Clayton at the helm. Some crazy stuff happened in golf yesterday. Obviously not the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour, but I don't know if you saw them. 2 59s were shot yesterday. You probably know about one of them, but pretty incredible to have. Obviously, when a 59 happens in golf, it's a big moment because it's just such a difficult thing to do. Now, they were both on par 71 courses, but still 12 under par in a single round of golf is pretty incredible. But one of those was on the Korn Ferry Tour, and the Michael Fiegels, he shot 12 under par yesterday. Let me ask you this. You shoot 10 under, you expect to be winning that tournament, don't you, Alan?
Yeah, 100%. Are you kidding me? Even on a video game.
Even on a video game, that's right. Yeah. And you had 2 guys in the Korn Ferry Tour event yesterday shoot 10 under par, and they're probably like, oh, man, we're looking pretty good here. And then Michael Fiegels goes out and shoots a 59 and sets that record. Pretty awesome golf there. I mean, that just shows that the Korn Ferry guys, now the golf course is not quite the same, that's for sure. They were playing both at about 7,000 yards, but you still got to hit that tee ball and still get that ball in the hole. But there's not been a ton of 59s out there, especially in competition. So pretty cool to see that happen yesterday. I think we reported that during the show live. But then you also had another 59 in not a Korn Ferry PGA sanctioned event or whatever you want to call it, but the Tennessee Open. Each state has their big open right now. The Florida Open is, I think, getting underway, but it's a professional event, so you can play it. It's just like the U.S. Open. You can play. It's governed by the State Golf Association. I'm trying to look up his name, but you had a guy shoot 59 yesterday in the final round, and I think he lost to his younger brother. I got to Google this here real quick, but he shot last 2 rounds. He shot 64, 59. I still think he lost by 4.
Oh my gosh. The brother aspect reminds me of the Phillies pitcher Nola. His brother plays for the Padres. They have an actual stat that shows that he's only thrown 96 mile per hour or harder like 6 times in his career, and 4 of those pitches came against his younger brother. So that's got to be something worth talking about around the holidays or something when you get together. But dude, the 59 needs to be there's nothing you can do as a competitor. It's probably like the equivalent of watching Jordan go for 60 or Kobe go for 80. You just gotta tip your cap to him, man. Like, you earned that. nothing can be said.
Definitely, and the names, it's two brothers. It's Hunter and Ben Wolcott, and their dad actually won the Tennessee State Open 40 years ago, and they both finished in the top two. And Ben was the one who shot the 59, but his brother Hunter was 22 under par in the final two rounds to set the tournament's obviously scoring record. But yeah, and then his brother, didn't quite get it done with the 59, but that just shows how good the levels of golf are. I think I know Bob Wolcott. Why do I know that name? And he looks really familiar. It's kind of an aside. I'm looking at the article while we're talking. It's like, do I know Bob Wolcott? I might know who he is. He looks super familiar. But anyway, just some ridiculous golf being played on the State Open levels. I don't want to put too much pressure on you here, but is the Belmont Stakes, is that being ran?
To my understanding, it should be good to go. They are doing races at Belmont right now. I did check that this morning before I texted you back, because that's what I was waiting on to see myself. But they did reopen it today, and I've been getting alerts that races are going on. So I think the money won.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah. I'm sure, hopefully, that smoke will start clearing. That's why we're asking about the, I don't know if you've seen all those fires up there in Canada and just how it's impacting sports. And the Belmont Stakes being up there in Elmont, New York, at Belmont Park is right in the thick of it, no pun intended. So, but you got a great group of horses in this one compared to the Preakness, right, Alan?
Yeah, I think this is definitely a better crop of horses. That's why the Preakness winner, National Treasure, is going to have a little bit of pressure on him. And it's, a lot of the mainstream's first exposure to Forte, who really is the best 3-year-old in the business right now. I don't even think there's an argument to be made that he's not. But we couldn't get him in the Kentucky Derby because he got hurt, and then we didn't get him in the Preakness, but we are getting him at the Belmont, which is the longer race, and usually you would worry a little bit about some horses, but having personally watched Forte a few times, I'm 100% confident that he's the outright favorite for a reason, deserving of that. And he's versatile. I think he can run the type of race that's needed. Still got the best jockey in the business on his back, one of the best trainers in the business. And something to note, winners at the Belmont typically come from a stalking position, which is closer to the lead than, say, a closer, which is what Forte usually does. And so I think that strategically he's got what it takes to stalk. I think National Treasure, the one that won the Preakness, is going to be up front again. I think that's his best strategy. But there's two outliers here. The number 1 horse and I think the number 7 horse, or maybe 6. But there's 2 horses in the race that should challenge on the pace. Actually, it's number 5, Il Miralaco or something like that. He doesn't belong in the race. To be honest. So it makes me think that he's gonna, because the one time that he did win, it was an allowance race a couple months ago. So I think he's just gonna do what he did in that race and try to get up front and hope for the best. National Treasure, all Baffert horses want to be on the lead or up front, so I expect him to be up there. And then I think they're going to get Tappet Shoes, the 1 horse. I think that's going to be a horse that's going to push the pace as well.
Any relation to Tappet Trice?
Oh, if they've got Tappet in their name, they're 100% somewhere near or related. It's like the sugar moniker. Like if you get Tappet in your name, you're from that lineage. But strategically speaking, and I know it's a lot to soak in, you got 9 horses. It's not a big field, but strategically speaking, you once again have to look at what you think the pace of the race will be, because if it's not a breakneck pace, then I don't think we can count Tappet Trice in. I don't think we can count Red Route 1 in, which is a 15-1 long shot right now. And I don't think you can count in Hit Show either, because Hit Show kind of dies on the stretch. So I got Forte winning it because he's the best horse. I think he'll run the stalking style, and he's got the best jockey. So even if he gets a bad trip, he's just that good of a horse, he'll overcome it. My second on there is Angel Empire, which some of you guys remember I picked him for the Kentucky Derby, and it's the same angle. Angel Empire has the best finishing kick. So I think in a race that at the end is all about technique and endurance, it'll set up well for him. One other thing that will help, he's got the blinkers on. And I know some people might think that doesn't matter, but I did my research. And in training and in preparing for longer distances, Angel of Empire has done it with blinkers on, so it's not anything new. And the jockey actually told the trainer, keep the blinkers on for this race. He runs so much better when he has the blinkers on. And the idea behind that is Angel of Empire is closer to a stalking position with blinkers on than with them off, and that might set up for a really important finish with Forte, and I really still think that Angel of Empire has the kick to outrun Forte on that last stretch, but it's going to take, I can't say it on air, but it's going to take a very high level of effort to beat a horse that truly is the best 3-year-old out there.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it is the longest of the Triple Crown at 1.5 miles. So being able to hang in there and finish is going to be huge. And that, looking at the odds on this one, you take out El Miracolo or whatever it is, and tap it shoes at 20-1. You've got a really a lot of close odds here. And you got Forte at 5-2, Angel Empire at 7-2, and then you got Tap It Trice at 3-1, and National Treasure at 5-1, and then Arcangelo at 8-1. So a lot of smaller odds, which in my mind, I'm not a big horse expert like you are, Alan, but in my mind that makes it a little tougher to kind of hit these multiple box bets. So throwing out some of those wheel boxes and stuff like that may have some more of an opportunity in this one, the way the odds look.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have Hit Show in there because the horse doesn't stop running. So if for some reason the pace is crazy, Hit Show will hit the board, no pun intended, like the horse doesn't stop running. The problem is it's not the best horse, so if it comes down to it competing to win, I don't think it stands a chance. But to hit the board, you don't have to be the best horse. Also, I think Red Route 1 is a legitimate long shot there at 15-1. It's going to be probably the last horse out. So, as long as it gets somewhat of a decent pace, depending on what happens up front, if there was to be like a super upset, I think it could come from Red Route 1 because it'll have its pick of the litter, what kind of trip it wants to take, and whether or not it wants to swing wide or hit the inside rail and try to overcome there. But hopefully everybody will see the Forte that I've seen the last 3 races, and that horse is it's a good horse.
Yeah, and it'll probably show what we missed out on at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Had he not been a last-minute scratch there. Alan, always appreciate your time. Always appreciate all the expertise and insight you bring into the show, and should be a fun weekend of gambling, as we all know and love.
Yeah, and if you run across Sam Bennett, could you tell him to be consistent for me? He's killing me.
What is he doing right now? I haven't paid attention to him, but what is he doing?
He's bogeying every par 3 after he birdies every par 4, and he's breaking even on the par 5s. That's not how you're supposed to play this course, son.
Yeah, this is a brand new course. You got to be tearing it up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Some interesting names at the top. That's for darn sure. A new course, everybody. We talked a lot about. I'm gonna update all the DK picks here in just a little bit. Alan, we got our break coming up. Appreciate you as always, and of course, go Niners.
Take care.
Thank you, Alan, very much. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Didn't know we'd be talking about horse betting today, did you, Jordan? That's the beautiful thing about the Inside Drive is we cover all sorts of sports and sports betting, which we love to talk about here in Northwest Florida. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Inside Drive, joined by Jordan Whiteley.
Suffer from political talk radio fatigue?
We know that under the 49% rate, the U.S. economy is
Tune into the most fun and exciting new radio show on the Gulf Coast. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. From the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. Middays 11 to 1 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. The remainder of the day, a possibility of thunderstorms and some sun and a temperature of 84 with an 8 to 12 miles per hour wind out of the west. Partly cloudy skies tonight and warm near 74. Partly sunny throughout the day with a chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening and 84 tomorrow. This is your Friday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for listening to ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
By now, you've heard us talking about Tiger TV Pro. Hi, David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs, here to remind you about this incredible streaming service with over 6,000 premium channels. And the cost, you ask? $15 a month. Yes, only $15 a month. Every sports channel is available, including the ACC and SEC Network, the NFL, NBA, MLB, HBO, Showtime, and thousands more. For more info, go to our website at espnpc.com. Scroll down and click the Tiger logo.
The only place to get sports betting coverage on the radio. Is this legal? Broadcasting from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios. It's the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Probably just let this one play for a while. Smitty bringing the heat on this intro coming in. You are listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. As always, sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine and Outdoor Studios. As we were talking a little bit about the Braves last week, don't forget we are the home for the Atlanta Braves here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and they are sponsored by Best Way Portable Products. I don't have it right here in front of me. I'm struggling just a little bit with this. I messed up my sheet. I took this home last night, Smitty, and I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, also we've got the really cool promo coming up too at the Blast at Bay Point. We're excited about that one. I think starting Monday, right? We're going to be announcing those.
Yeah, the first time we're going to play the game will be at 7:40.
Awesome.
And I think that you guys are at 12:40.
12:40, and then David.
When you hear the little cue, we'll probably give you a little test run before we do it. When you hear the cue, you be the correct caller, which I believe is 10.
Nice.
We may change it up just to make things difficult. And then if you're the correct caller, you win a bucket of balls.
Yep.
So you can go out to your driving
range and hit yourself a nice large basket.
I understand is the absolute best.
Oh yeah, Bay Point's the best for a reason.
And then of course, if you guess the correct number, then you automatically win. I don't know if we're going to give away one of these a day or if it's going to be per week, but 18 holes.
Yeah, and for you and a guest, we're excited about. I think we're doing 8 twosomes total, if I'm not mistaken.
I think this is great for people that you might want to just listen and win for the bucket of balls, because if you love golf, of course you're going to love to go out to the driving range and hit a bucket of balls. You're going to love it. But if you don't quite have an exercise that you and your wife or yourself can get out there in the sunshine here in beautiful Bay County, and if you don't have an exercise like that, winning this contest would be a good time to pick up a sport.
Absolutely.
Like golf, because it's healthy, it's sunshine, it's vitamin D, it's all the good things.
It's everything, and we have
Plus
some.
You guys, what else do you do there?
Oh, we do everything. We've got
bingo back yet?
We haven't brought bingo back. Bingo is probably not coming back, and that's we just have. It's just been so busy out there, which has been awesome. The support's been fantastic, not only from locals but tourists. And as Chris Kramer mentioned yesterday, our first tee time in the summer is 6 a.m. So if you're looking to get out there bright and early, and a lot of tourists take advantage of that because dad and the brothers, or dad and the kids, boys and girls, they come out early, they play the round of golf, mom sleeps in or whoever sleeps in, and then 9 o'clock you're back. You can go to the beach. You got the whole day in front of you. So and then of course got to mention our local players pass. We do that once a quarter. If you play more than 2 times in that quarter, you are saving money. It's for local Bay County residents as well as the 5 surrounding counties. You just have to have that ID showing that you're a local or an active military ID, and you pay a one-time registration fee each quarter, get a free round of golf, and you play for significantly reduced rounds of golf out
That's
there.
a neat idea.
We love locals. Locals are the backbone of our area. That's
Who
for sure.
comes up with this stuff? You?
There's we got a group. No, we've been doing the local players pass for about 7 or 8 years, so I can't take the credit for everything. But no, we got a great team out there. Speaking of teams, excited, Jordan. Thanks for hanging out with us all day today. I know you're busy. It's the summertime. You've got your football season coming up. You are a redshirt freshman out there at South Alabama. If you listen to the first hour, we kind of went through the story of Tiny Mite football, then middle school football, high school football, the recruiting process. You had to deal with the crazy COVID, which I didn't even think about, and how that affected your recruiting and all that stuff. But wanted to ask you a couple more questions while we got you here. You know, growing up playing football, and then even now, who are some of the big influences that have kind of shaped who you are? Obviously, you mentioned your parents and your coaches and all that, but maybe some professional athletes or somebody that's not even in the sport that may have been a big influence in your life, in the different stages. And here you are now playing Division I college football.
Yeah, so one of the biggest ones for me was definitely Ray Lewis, just because, one of the greatest linebackers in the book, but is also a great motivational speaker. So it was very easy for me to key in on some of his YouTube videos and stuff like that to keep me going and keep me inspired and everything. And then as far as the on-field linebackers that I used to look up to was Luke Kuechly, just the IQ and everything that he did outside of football to make him one of the best. And so I definitely looked up to both of them a lot growing up.
It's funny. I didn't even really put the correlation together. I just saw it come through my Facebook feed and printed out this best linebackers of all time based on talent and impact. And you mentioned Ray Lewis. They've got him in the number 1 tier there with Lawrence Taylor and Dick Butkus. Dick Butkus a little before our time for sure, but everybody knows LT and Ray Lewis. So you number 1 tier there, best linebackers of all time. I watched I don't know if it was a 30 for 30 or an E60. It might have been a 30 for 30 talking about the Baltimore Ravens and the year their defense was just insane, and they weren't able to kind of keep that going. But very interesting story. But, we get back to leadership and how you are on the field. You're the captain, so to speak, of that defense out there, and you mentioned you're the Mike linebacker, which you're getting all the plays, making the call. Everybody's looking to you, and I see a lot of names on this list that very much are leaders. You've got in that second tier Jack Lambert, Mike Singletary, coach of the Niners in the past, Derek Thomas, and Jack Ham. Derek Brooks, who I believe played at Florida State, if I'm not mistaken. Junior Seau, another one that comes to mind. He's no longer with us anymore. And then Brian Urlacher. Some of the guys, Niner guys, big Niners fan. My dad was from California. I was only lived there for 6 years, but it's kind of how you become a fan. It usually comes down on the lineage. But Patrick Willis out there, Luke Kuechly, as you mentioned. Any current linebackers out there that you kind of watch a little bit and study? Any of the names currently in the league that come to mind?
Yeah, for sure. Bobby Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
Fred Warner.
Fred. I love watching Fred Warner play.
I love both of them. So, and 49ers, man, one of the best defenses at the time, and I love watching them for sure.
If they can just keep their dang quarterbacks healthy, we might have a shot to actually win that 6th Super Bowl championship. But, yeah,
you'll have to forgive me. I'm not a 49ers fan. I'm a Bengals fan.
That's okay. I understand why.
And you might understand.
The 80s, when I was born, was rough. That's for sure. We're trying to get back there, and that's what I talk about with Liam all the time. He was born in 2014. He's only 8 years old, but he really only remembers the last 3 or 4 years when it comes to sports. But we've been to 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. He has no idea what it was like, from 96 to, let's call it, 2019. Now we made the playoffs a couple times. We went to the Super Bowl against the Ravens, I want to say in 2011 or 12. Ended up not winning that one, but it's funny how sports and your family kind of dictate a lot of the liking, and we talk about that, how everybody became like either Alabama fans or Georgia fans or whatever it may be. Who's your college? Got to ask you that. Obviously, you play for the University of South Alabama, so you're pulling for all your sports there for sure. But everybody grows up with the college team, so anxious to hear who your college team is.
Yeah, so mine's actually Ohio State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my dad grew up in Columbus, and a lot of my family still lives there. So I was actually fortunate enough to go to the two of their games, I went to Ohio State, Michigan, which was my very first one, and it was
what a first game
insane.
to go.
And then the second game was Ohio State, Georgia. So, and that was same year, same everything, and wow, it was insane. But yeah, definitely Ohio State.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, speaking of Ohio State, on Fridays when I used to be on with Coach James Hale, you had Jim Brandt and Jason Kovaleski. Jim used to coach with Coach Hale all the time, and Jason Kovaleski is the owner of Max Fit Sports and Nutrition. Both huge Buckeyes, both from that area. I believe Jason's mom played basketball at Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken on that one. I could be wrong, but she played some kind of sport there at Ohio State. So a lot of Ohio State fans down here in the Florida Panhandle because we have so many people that have moved from elsewhere. So, what do you think about this season coming up for Ohio State? They got to figure out who that quarterback's going to be, but if they got over the hump last year, just couldn't get past to that championship game, which I think would have been a lot better championship game had it been Georgia Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm most excited for the wide receiver core. I mean, it's going to be absolutely insane this year, and I know that even with the older guys, there's some young guys that can come in from South Florida that can make an impact. I actually went to one of the Under Armour All-American camps with Brandon Ennis, and he just signed with Ohio State, and he is incredible. So I feel like that's definitely going to be wide receiver university for a while.
It's certainly been for the last few years, that's for sure. Between LSU, Alabama, and Ohio State, there's been some serious guys in the league. So switching back to you at South Alabama, what's this upcoming season look like for you, and what are you most excited about?
Yeah, so I'm most excited really just to start getting some reps and being able to make an impact on and off the field and just have a whole year of experience underneath my belt and not going in blind anymore. And as far as learning how to balance school and everything, one more year of experience, so that always helps. And just traveling, having fun with the guys, and just really taking in these next few years of being able to play college football.
Yeah, I mean, and just embrace it because, not a lot of people get the opportunity that you have to play college football, especially at the Division I level. So kudos to all your hard work and everything that you got there. So plans beyond football, is that started to kind of be one of the things that, you're trying to think about? What are you looking for? Obviously finishing out your career there at, and I don't know if the next level is something that's going to happen, but, what are you going to school for, and what's your kind of next step?
Yeah, so unlike most of the football players, I'm actually majoring in biology and minor in chemistry because I want to be a dentist after football. So I've actually started shadowing a lot this summer since I've been back and just getting my nice volunteer hours and getting all that experience underneath my belt. But yeah, it's definitely been a fun ride trying to balance school with football and all the hard classes I have to take, but it's a lot.
No doubt. Kudos to you. I mean, biology and chemistry and all the dedication you got to do to football. Obviously, all that hard work and effort you were taught growing up and Brett is continuing on. So that's very impressive. Biology and chemistry, Smitty. I don't know about you, but my business management major.
I can't even spell those words.
Yes. So awesome. When's first game? Early, I'm putting you on the spot there. I'm sure it's that first week in September or last week in August. But
right around there.
Yeah, and you're how many? I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head. Questions. Are you every week? Every week as you get back to school, are you competing for that spot on the field, or have you kind of already set yourself up for that spot on the field to be out there, or is it do you guys kind of run the rotation? Just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, as far as spots and everything, rotating and everything, I would say right now it's so early with the transfer portal. It's
I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad. Yeah.
Insane. I mean, you got guys coming in, joining the group chats and stuff every week, just rolling in and really guys rolling out too. So, I mean, with the transfer portal, you just never know. So you really just have to keep yourself prepared and make sure you're performing at the highest level at all times because you got the guy right beside you who's fighting for a spot as well.
Yeah,
How do you handle that when you get to chemistry with another player? Like doing a show like this, sometimes I can read off somebody's body language and know when they're about to talk or when they're about to move. I'm sure you get those same kind of relationships with the other players on the team, and then all of a sudden they transfer out on you and a new guy comes in, or the coach has to put second string guy in there. And I mean, how do you handle that?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot for sure, and it's something that I really wasn't used to in high school. I mean, you kind of grow up with your core, like I said, and now, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's a straight business at this level. It's, I mean, next guy up, and you want to make good relationships with your players and coaches, but man, it's definitely a business for sure. So as guys are moving in and moving out, it's next guy up, who can perform best for me on the field, because we're working for a job and so are our coaches. So it's definitely been a different experience for me, but it's definitely a business, that's for sure.
It's got to be a crazy atmosphere. I
Yes.
mean, you just never know what's happening, and you get, like I said, you get to read somebody's body language, and all of a sudden they're gone, and so the next guy comes up, and it's kind of like having relationships.
Yeah, it's definitely hard.
You have a girlfriend, you get used to her, and all of a sudden she's gone, and it's like, well, now what am I going to do on Friday nights? I mean, it's just strange like that. And this is the first year for that sort of thing to happen, or was it going on last year?
I think it's been the last 2, maybe 3 years as far as transfer portal.
Kind of on the heels of COVID a little bit is when this thing kind of went wide open. Is that something y'all, talk about a lot with your, the people you've developed these? He was talking about relationships and all that, but, do you hear when guys like, oh, I was just talking to, such and such university, they're looking at me potentially, do you guys say, okay, I'm thinking about entering the transfer portal, or, how does that, how does that work for you? Or you're like, I'm here, I'm South Alabama.
Yeah, so for me, I know I'm here. I'm South Alabama because I want to get my education from here and everything.
Which is awesome to hear.
But yeah, a lot of people, man, it's wide open right now, and I hate that they don't have any really limitations or restrictions on it. But guys are simply, hey, I'm not thinking I'm going to play next year or something, and I got this one team, just got a senior linebacker that graduated, I could maybe roll in and fill that spot. So it's definitely stuff they talk about and even joke about just around with the coaches and everything, and having a good time, but it's definitely wide open right now.
Does it make it tough on your coaches as far as, can they feel that, not knowing that, okay, I've got this group, but these couple guys are thinking about going? I mean, that's got to be tough on the coaches to kind of continue on, but I guess you just got to business as usual, and you can't worry about it because you can't really control it. So, you see your coaches feeling that pressure a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And I really do, because one of our guys was actually, he has one more year of eligibility, and he was a starter last year, just kind of joking about either leaving or transferring out somewhere. And I feel like as you build that chemistry with your players and everything as a coach, it's kind of hard to know. I mean, with it being wide open, they could transfer tomorrow, and you're like, okay, well, next guy up. So it's definitely harder to build chemistry, and I know it puts our coaches under a lot of pressure.
And I think we talked about it one time on the Coach James Hale show was, a lot of times when I think it's less than 50%. I could be wrong because I'm just trying to quote my memory. Less than 50% of the people that enter the transfer portal actually end up playing on another school. So you kind of see a lot of people go into that transfer portal, and I don't know how it works coming back. I think each school is kind of different. If you go in that transfer portal, your spot's gone, or some people may let you come back. I don't know how it goes. But, man, what a time to be in college athletics for you, not only with COVID in your high school and then coming in and all these guys with getting the extra year of eligibility, like you mentioned, playing against 24 and 25-year-olds as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid coming in. And then on top of that, you've got the transfer portal and the NIL. Do you see any of the NIL kind of affect your guys at all over there at South Alabama? I know it's, and I don't want to say bigger school, but you know what I mean. It's, the bigger markets and stuff like that is where you're seeing some of these high dollar things. But any NIL stuff going over there with the Jags?
Yeah, so we actually started this, I want to say it goes in place this summer. There's a class that we're taking. It's going to be something we just do in the afternoons, kind of. It's not really voluntary, but it's not mandatory. But I mean, obviously we want to be there for it. But someone's going to come in, I think once or twice a week, kind of speak on it, get us pushing our names out there, and make sure we're getting the exposure to take full advantage of the NIL deals and everything we can, because they think it's good, obviously, for the market and everything, just to push our names out and see if we can get something rolling.
I got a question when we come back.
Okay.
I'm sure it's got a long, drawn-out answer. Or he may just say, I don't know, but
I like it.
I'll give you a heads up. I'll let you think about it. Are there agents? Are you guys finding that agents are coming in saying, hey, sign a contract with me and I'll walk you through the process. I'll get you the most money. I'll get you the most FaceTime on TV. I'll get you this. I'll get you that. Is that happening?
I mean, I would say definitely with the higher up name people, as far as because we have one kid who just transferred 1 or 2 years ago that's going to be doing really good. He's a DB. His name's Ian Banks, and I almost saw it as other schools in the transfer portal were like, hey, like, we really want you, and it's way higher names in college football and big schools. But I feel like with this NIL money, that they can almost keep him at South just because he's getting those relationships with agents and people just rolling in money and supporting him. And so he feels like he can stay here and still make as big an impact and keep money rolling in. So
that seems like a win-win for both the athlete and the university and the South Alabama football team. We got one segment left. We've been hanging out with Jordan Whiteley all day, which I very much appreciate. I know you're busy trying to, train kids, train yourself, shadow dentists, all that good stuff. You got a lot going on, and your mom, I know she's super proud of you, and it was fun to have you both in here earlier. But you are listening to the Inside Drive live on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
ESPN Northwest Florida. The afternoon underdogs.
Which one's more surprising, kind of just looking at these teams right now, is the Baltimore Orioles, who are in second place in the toughest division in all of baseball in the American League East, or those Arizona Diamondbacks that we just spent 5 to 7 minutes talking about.
I'm not as shocked about the Baltimore Orioles as most people, because I've been watching this team.
4 to 6 weekdays. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Are you ready for Panama City's best pizza? Then check out the new Guru's Pizza 786. They don't do just pizza, they also serve wings, pasta, calzones, salads, sandwiches, and more. Guru's Pizza 786 has 50 plus Indian and Italian pizza varieties. They're open Monday through Thursday until midnight, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until 3 a.m. Takeout and delivery are available. Guru's Pizza 786, 7806 Front Beach Road. Call 850-588-5055. Better quality and better taste.
My dad, he's a double amputee, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. To me, a hero is someone who fights for our country and freedom. My dad is a hero. Most of our troops built this house, and my dad can get through the wide doorways. He can reach anything.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
The locals love it.
You're gonna love this. You are my favorite. It's my favorite.
Everybody's favorite. The Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey. Live from the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Kramer Marine Outdoor Studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back on this fun Friday, which it's hard to believe it's coming to an end because we could sit here and probably talk football for the next couple hours. You're listening to the Inside Drive. I'm Ryan Mulvey, joined by Jordan Whiteley today. His mom, Crystal Whiteley, was joining us earlier. She's a title agent out there at South Oak Title and Closing, which is the sponsor not only of the Coach James Hale Show, but the Inside Drive here as well. We are sitting inside the Bill Kramer Chevrolet Buick GMC and Outdoor Studios. Coming up Monday, Jay Henley will be back. What's crazy is Jay is our director of instruction out at Bay Point Golf Club, who does a wonderful job with the kids, with adults. He's really grown our programs, and he usually hangs out with me in studio. And then this news of the Live PGA merger broke on Tuesday this week, and he's not even here. So I haven't even had a chance to talk to him yet about that. So excited about next week. Next week's also U.S. Open week, and a lot of awesome stuff going on next week. And Father's Day coming up. And don't forget, at Bay Point Golf Club, we have our huge Father's Day Father's Day sale starting on Monday. It's going to run the 12th through the 18th. You spend $200 in the golf shop and you're going to get a free round of golf. The beautiful thing about that is you can spend the $200 on Father's Day and then you can have the free round of golf, or you can buy it earlier in the week, save it as a gift. You can give them the swag and the round, or you can keep the swag yourself, give Dad the round, or vice versa. So let us take care of the Father's Day shopping for you. Give Dad the gift of golf. Again, that starts Monday. $200 in the golf shop and you get a free round of golf. Just come check us out there at Bay Point Golf Club. Jordan, we were talking a lot about you kind of coming up and all that stuff, but I want to ask you, so South Alabama, great program, has had a lot of guys move on to the NFL. Do you have some of those guys? Do they come back during the season and hang out at games? Kind of the one that off the top of my head, Gerald Everett, tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers. Do you see any of these guys ever come back? And if they do, what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, it's definitely super cool for them to come back, and I've noticed too that a lot of them will come back and almost try to speak at like halftime or something and give back to all the people that once gave to them while they spent their time at South, and it's been a lot of fun. They'll come and speak to us every now and then about another transition from high school to college, and now they went from college to the NFL, and how much of a business it really is then. And even being able to, we had two guys, one got drafted and two undrafted, and they came back and spoke to us, I think 2 weeks ago, right before we were getting ready to head back, and they kind of just spoke to us and how much they miss the family that they had at South, and just kind of how now they feel they're starting back at the bottom. They've spent their last few years at South and grown to the top and just grown family, and now they're back at the bottom, restarting all over again. So,
and like you mentioned, certainly a business, and you said in the last segment, the NIL and this transfer portal stuff has kind of made college football a little bit more of that business that it's always been, but had that amateur sport and the family, and people weren't coming and going left and right. So I'm sure even in today's college football world, you still have that family, and for you at South Alabama, and when you go up in the NFL, obviously it's pure business. Everything's business. You still have the family, the camaraderie, and all that stuff. But interesting to hear you say that when they came back, they talk about the family and all that stuff. So enjoy the moment while you're out there at college for sure. Question for you. I'll ask you a college football question. You think Georgia does it again, back to back to back?
I do not. Okay. So obviously, Ohio State fan talked about it earlier. I got us winning it all this year. I think with the wide receiver core, and I already know there's going to be the next young buck quarterback that's going to step up like they always do and be able to play a huge role. And the defense, the linebacker coming back, Equalberg or something like that, he's a beast. So I'm excited to watch him come back. I've been following him for a while now.
Well, and that's really, too, where you've seen, and this is just, an outsider looking in, that defense specifically, the game has seemed to blown a lot more wide open, a lot more vertical, a lot more read option passing, and you're seeing you've got to score 40, 50 points to win football games nowadays, and Ohio State is certainly poised to do that. Georgia, don't know who their starting quarterback is going to be quite yet, but, either is Ohio State, Alabama, some of these big, you've had kind of this core group of quarterbacks that have been around the last 2 years, and now you're seeing that shift. And like you said, everybody's, there's a reason why they're on Ohio State's roster as a quarterback. They're going to be fantastic. What do you think about, the 12-team playoff coming up here, not this season, but the following season? You think it's good for college football or bad for college football?
I mean, I think it's good. I think it'll be just something to switch it up and get more teams like in the ability to keep working hard and not just make the 4 and just be able to, because it could be the underdog. You never know. You got to be able to compete every single week. So I think it'll throw a little curveball in there and make it fun, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, I'm a big proponent of it. Coach Hale beats it to death because it's, being an Alabama guy, and he always said it should be the 4 best teams. I'm like, well, if it's the 4 best teams, then why are you even playing the season? Because you can put the roster and all that. But yeah, I mean, gives a lot more people an opportunity. End goal was, making a bowl game, winning a bowl game, whatever it may be. Now your end goal, if you're there, make the playoff. And even if you lose in the first round of the playoff, you still made the playoff, and I think that adds a lot more aspect to it. And then obviously it's, for those schools that are hosting that first round playoff game that won't be bowl games, that's huge for the town, the economy, all that stuff. I know it's an extra game, injuries, yada, 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 all that stuff, but I personally think the 12-team playoff is going to be exciting, and someone who's talking in sports, it gives us more to talk about. So, I see both sides of it for sure. And, is it going to be, Ohio State, Georgia? I don't know about Alabama. I don't know if the, this year isn't, is it this? I don't think it's this year the SEC goes. No, next year the SEC gets rid of their divisions when Oklahoma and Texas come in. ACC did it this year, which I think is good for Florida State. They're not in the same division as Clemson anymore, so they have a chance to really, make some noise in that one. But, the SEC, I don't know if the SEC West is Alabama's this year. What do you think about the SEC West specifically? I'll put you on the spot there. My wife's Beth's a big Auburn girl. So I've obviously I'm a Coastal Carolina football fan, but from a college standpoint, I grew up in the Northeast, so college football was more the big time programs. I used to cheer for USC for a little while, just because it was always who was on TV and all that kind of stuff, but dove hard into Auburn. Everybody in her family went to Alabama. She's the Auburn defector, so I've kind of joined that misery, I guess you could say. But the SEC West, I think, is a little more wide open this year for sure. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Alabama's still...
You can't ever count out Alabama, that's
what
for
I'm
sure.
saying. And just looking back at some of the guys that I followed in my class that are going in and making an impact, and Dallas Turner, I love watching him. And I don't know, I still think they'll always have those top guys that are coming in ready. I mean, you got the dynasty, you got everything to look forward to in the year, so I think it'll still be fun to watch. But
you think LSU can make a run at that SEC West? A lot of people are kind of giving them that second spot behind Alabama.
Nothing like having him put you on the spot, huh?
Well, that's Sports Talk Radio, so you gotta. He's a college football player. I mean, he lives and breathes this stuff. But it's just your opinion. You think LSU can take a run at him?
Yeah, I think so. I used to be buddies with Mason Taylor.
Okay,
out of St. Thomas. So going in and watching him impact, I actually called him the day after he wins the scoring touchdown against Alabama, just the moment, and talking about the lights and everything was exciting. But yeah, I think LSU's got some guys. He keeps me updated every now and then with how their training camp goes and all that stuff, and any young bucks that are stepping up and stuff like that. So I think they'll always have a good shot at them, and it's got to be about who's coming ready to play that night. I mean, you got the atmosphere, the fans, everything, and that's really how it is for any game. I mean, whoever's ready, whoever has put in the most work for that week, and whoever has the best mentality going into the game.
What is it? I got to ask this because this is something they always talk about Brian Kelly. Jason Kovaleski's always, he's just not the fit for LSU. How do they feel about Brian Kelly over there in LSU from what you're hearing?
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, they love him. That was one of the main reasons that actually got Mason there, because obviously he was highly recruited out of high school. And so, I mean, he seems to have a great bond with them, and obviously he was a high recruit, so they're going to give him a little bit more better, to him, but he loves him. I never hear any complaints about him or from any of the other guys, so I think it's good. I think he's a good fit.
So your fraternity of high school football players that have moved on to the next level runs beyond this area here, kind of what you're saying. People outside.
Oh yeah, just from camps and really everything football related, but mostly I would say camps, and getting invited to the Under Armour camps and all that stuff has definitely been a game changer as far as people I know, and I love keeping up with them and all that stuff, so it's been fun.
That's awesome. I mean, I appreciate you joining us in studio today, talking a little bit about your journey into Division I college football and then beyond, and just to hear, you're majoring in biology and chemistry while playing football is pretty darn impressive. I mentioned, you mentioned Lyers, favorite NFL team out there? Or more, you're a college guy, yeah, for sure. It's kind of how this area works, for sure.
I mean, honestly, it's kind of funny, but I like following the 49ers just because of the defense.
I like Jordan. That defense is fantastic. And they got Steve Wilkes now, who's really good with defensive backs. And that's, if there was one area that was lacking, I don't know if that's the right term last year, but their defensive, their secondary could definitely use a little more pop, and they got some really good guys came in, and I'm excited to see how they're doing. One of the kids on my flag football team, Jace Crooks, his mom, Renitra Crooks, and she goes by Nini. She's actually a cousin of Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward. So I'm trying to talk to her. I said, I need you to make this connection happen, because we always try to go to one Niners game. Last year when they were in Atlanta, 2 years ago they were in Jacksonville, and they're playing in Jacksonville again this year.
Sweet.
So we're going to make the trip over and have some fun with that. I know we got a couple minutes left here. Anything for the youth coming up that you'd say? I know we talked a lot about it earlier, but for anybody that just tuned in, what would you say to some of these up and coming football players to keep their head to the grindstone and what it takes? And what was the advice if you had to give them just one piece of advice? A 12-year-old tackle football player that's really good, but needed that extra little pop. What would the advice that you give them there? I know that's really putting you on the spot.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, for sure, I would definitely just say chase your dreams and don't let any outside influence dictate what you want to do. I would say just keep your head humble, stay humble, and keep your head down, work hard. And the biggest thing a lot with social media thing is be able to work like under the light. You don't have to always be in the spotlight, and being able just to push yourself and work outside of just being around your other teammates and separating yourself and really just setting goals each week, each day. Set goals and just chase your dreams.
I love it. And that's something you hear from a lot of other people too, some of the top players in the NFL and stuff like that. You say, you don't have to videotape every workout. Every time you're doing something, you don't have to show the world what you're doing. They expect you to be doing that. Work behind the scenes, work for yourself, be humble, be a leader, which you are clearly a leader, and is so very important in many things. Just a couple quick points before we hit the end of the show today. I didn't really talk about it too much. I'll wait till next week with Jay when we have him back in studio. But some potentially interesting stuff coming out about Live. You've got a lot of people are talking about now that it may get blocked. The merger may get blocked. That comes from a semi-reliable source, which brings out a lot of thoughts and things. Is this planned by the PGA Tour all along? It gets blocked, Live goes away, yada, yada, yada. But then on the other side of things, you got Jimmy Dunn kind of laying out all the details of what the PGA Tour will look like. Still be called the PGA Tour, but Commissioner Jay Monahan oversees PGA Tour and Live Golf. PGA Tour remains a partner of the DuPont World Tour, and then the PIF is kind of just they're the fund and a partner. They're not necessarily making these purses bigger. We'll talk a lot more about that next week. Don't forget, you got the afternoon underdogs coming up from 4 to 6 p.m., including the Babe Reeves Bait and Tackle Fishing Update at 4:20. Jordan, thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Good luck this upcoming football season. You're listening to The Inside Drive. We'll see you next week.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
FSU softball, the College World Series Championship Series got underway last night after 2 delays. Yes. The first delay didn't get the first pitch until 8:10, and then I think